All right, let's dive into one of the dreamiest destinations out there,
Oh, I know where we're headed.
Lake Como, Italy. And we're going to craft the perfect 5-day itinerary for your first time experiencing this stunning slice of paradise.
Ah, Lake Como.
I'm excited.
It really is something special.
Yeah.
We're talking dramatic mountains plunging into those sparkling waters, charming towns, and the most delicious food,
Yes.
all bathed in that warm Italian sunshine.
Yes.
It's no wonder it's been a favorite escape for everyone, from poets to movie stars.
You really can't go wrong with Lake Como. It's one of those places that really does live up to the hype. And I think for a first-timer, planning can be a little bit daunting, but that's why we're here.
Absolutely.
So let's get started with day one, arrival and Bellagio bliss. I think flying into Milan Malpensa Airport makes the most sense.
Yeah, Malpensa is definitely going to be your best bet. From there, you can take a train or, even better, a ferry to Bellagio.
Okay.
And, that ferry ride itself is something to really savor. As you glide across those deep blue waters, surrounded by mountains, it's really like you're stepping into a painting.
It's giving you a grand welcome. The scenery's just like, wow.
Exactly.
And speaking of grand, Bellagio is known as the Pearl of Lake Como for a reason.
Oh, yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about what makes Bellagio so special?
Okay, imagine this. You're walking through these charming cobblestone streets lined with vibrant shops and cafes,
Oh, yeah?
all leading down to that sparkling waterfront.
Land there?
It's the epitome of idyllic Italian charm. And then there are the villas.
Oh, yes.
Bellagio boasts some of the most stunning villas and gardens in the entire region,
Yeah,
each with its own unique story to tell.
I love that. I mean, we can't cover all of them, but if you had to pick one villa to not miss in Bellagio, which one would it be?
If you're in Bellagio, Villa Carlotta is a must.
Okay.
Picture walking through these lush terraced gardens
Yeah.
with colorful flowers blooming everywhere you look. It's like stepping into a fairy tale.
Mm.
But it's not just about the beauty. It's about the history and the art that's woven into its very fabric.
Well, and speaking of art, I know Villa Carlotta has a pretty impressive art collection. What can you find there?
Inside the villa, you'll find sculptures by Canova, paintings by Hayez, and furniture from different eras.
Wow.
You can spare hours wandering from room to room, just soaking in the history and artistry. There's even a fascinating museum dedicated to the silk industry, which was once a major part of Lake Como's economy.
So it really is like a full sensory experience.
Absolutely.
But let's say our listener wants to see more gardens. What would you recommend?
Well, then a visit to Villa Melzi is in order.
Okay.
The gardens here they're meticulously designed, showcasing this incredible variety of plants and trees from all over the world. They even have a Japanese-inspired garden.
Oh, wow.
That's incredibly tranquil.
It's amazing how they can be both grand and peaceful at the same time.
Right.
I'm starting to get hungry just thinking about all this exploring. And luckily, Lake Como is a foodie's paradise.
Oh, it is.
What are some must-try dishes for a first-timer?
You absolutely have to try the risotto con pesce.
Yeah?
It's a creamy risotto made with fresh lake fish. It's a local specialty, and each restaurant kind of has their own unique spin on it.
So is there anything else that our listeners should make sure that they try while they're in the Bellagio area?
The polenta,
Okay.
especially polenta uncia, which is polenta with cheese and butter.
Mm-hmm.
It's simple, but so delicious, especially on a chilly evening.
And of course, no Italian meal is complete without wine.
Exactly. The Lombardy region is known for its fantastic wines, so be sure to sample some local varieties.
Yeah, for sure.
A crisp Lugano white or a robust Nebbiolo red would pair perfectly with your meal.
Okay, day one is shaping up to be pretty unforgettable. But we've got 4 more days to explore. So let's move on to day 2 and venture to another charming town. What do you think about Varenna?
Varenna is perfect for day 2. You can catch a ferry directly from Bellagio, and the journey itself is breathtaking. You'll see those charming villages dotting the shoreline, those majestic mountains reflecting in the water. It's really quite magical.
It does paint a picture, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So we arrive in Varenna. What's first on the agenda?
Varenna has a totally different vibe from Bellagio. It's a bit quieter, a bit more rustic,
Okay.
but just as charming. I would recommend starting with a leisurely stroll along the lakeshore promenade.
Okay.
You'll see colorful houses cascading down towards the water, and the views across the lake are just stunning.
It sounds like the perfect way to just really soak in that atmosphere. Are there any particular landmarks in Varenna we shouldn't miss?
You can't miss the Castello di Vezio. It's this ancient castle perched high on a hill overlooking Varenna.
Oh, wow.
The views from up there are incredible. You can see the entire lake, the surrounding mountains, even get a glimpse of Bellagio in the distance.
A castle with a view?
Yeah.
Like it. But let's say our listener is a little bit more of an active traveler, someone who enjoys a good hike. What would you suggest?
For those who want a little more activity, there's a wonderful hiking trail called the Sentiero del Viandante.
Okay.
It's an ancient path that winds along the eastern shore of the lake, offering these stunning views and a glimpse into the region's history.
So we've got history, stunning views, and a little bit of exercise. Is there anything else we should try to squeeze into our Varenna day?
Well, you can't visit Varenna without trying the local gelato.
Oh, of course.
It's famous throughout the region. Find a gelateria with a view of the lake,
Okay.
grab a scoop of hazelnut or pistachio, and savor every bite.
Day 2 is really shaping up to be magical, but we're just getting started. Stay tuned for part 2, where we'll explore more of Lake Como's hidden gems.
Welcome back to our deep dive into Lake Como.
I'm ready for more.
So far, we've explored the charming towns of Bellagio and Varenna,
Yes, we have.
but our journey is far from over. There's still so much more to discover.
I'm so ready for more. We've experienced the beauty, the charm of these iconic towns, but now I'm craving those hidden gems, those off-the-beaten-path experiences.
I know what you mean.
Yeah,
You're in luck because Lake Como is full of them.
perfect.
So let's start with day 3
Okay.
and a visit to a town you might not have heard of,
Okay.
Bellagio.
Bellagio, tell me more. What makes this town so special?
Bellagio sits on this sunny promontory
Okay.
with this beautiful promenade lined with cafes and restaurants.
Sounds lovely.
It's a perfect spot to just enjoy a leisurely breakfast
Yeah.
while soaking in those stunning views.
Wonderful.
And it's also a gateway to some incredible hiking trails in the surrounding hills.
So we fueled up with our breakfast and our coffee.
Yes.
Where does the trail lead us?
Just a short walk from Bellagio, you'll find the starting point for a hike to the top of Montegrona.
Montegrona. Okay.
It's a challenging but rewarding climb, and the views from the summit are simply breathtaking.
I can only imagine.
You can see the entire lake all the way to the Swiss Alps in the distance.
Wow. So I can just imagine standing there, you'd feel like you're on top of the world.
Right.
But hiking isn't for everyone. What if our listeners are more interested in maybe exploring the lake itself?
For those who prefer a more relaxed adventure, why not rent a boat?
Okay.
You can explore the lake at your own pace, discover secluded coves, even stop for a swim in those crystal clear waters.
That does sound relaxing and peaceful. Renting a boat sounds like the perfect way to just escape the crowds and really experience the tranquility of the lake.
Okay.
What are some must-see spots on a boat tour?
Definitely head towards the northern part of the lake, where you'll find the Isola Comacina.
Isola Comacina.
It's the only island on Lake Como.
Oh, wow.
It's a tiny island with these fascinating ruins of a Romanesque basilica
Okay.
and a restaurant that's only open during the summer months.
Oh, that's cool.
It's a truly magical place.
Perfect for a picnic lunch with a view.
Absolutely.
Speaking of food, I know you mentioned that Lake Como is a foodie's paradise.
It is.
What other culinary delights should we add to our itinerary for day 3?
Well, Bellagio is known for its delicious local dishes, especially the misaltini,
Misaltini.
which is dried, salted, and smoked shadfish.
Okay.
It's a traditional delicacy with a strong flavor, but definitely worth trying if you're feeling adventurous.
Misaltini. Okay, I'm intrigued, but let's say our listeners looking for something a little bit more familiar.
You can't go wrong with a classic pizza.
Okay.
There are some fantastic pizzerias in Bellagio where you can enjoy a delicious wood-fired pizza with fresh local ingredients. And of course, pair it with a glass of local wine for that perfect Italian experience.
Okay, I'm officially getting hungry. No, I know we talked about wines earlier, but are there any particular wineries in the Bellagio area that you would recommend visiting?
Absolutely. Just a short drive from Bellagio, you'll find the Azienda Agricola Sursasso,
Okay.
a family-run winery that produces some of the best wines in the region.
Amazing.
They offer tastings and tours, and you can even purchase a few bottles to take home as souvenirs.
A winery visit and some local souvenirs sounds like the perfect way to end day 3.
It does, doesn't it?
It does, but we have 2 more days of exploring ahead of us. So, for day 4, where are we headed?
For day 4, let's head to the heart of the action. The city of Como itself.
Como.
It's a vibrant city with rich history, stunning architecture, and a charming lakeside promenade.
Como. It's the namesake of the lake, so I'm definitely excited to explore it. What are some of the must-sees in the city itself?
First, you have to visit the Duomo,
Okay.
Como's magnificent cathedral.
Okay.
It's a stunning example of Gothic and Renaissance architecture,
Wow.
with intricate details and beautiful stained glass windows.
Beautiful.
Then take a stroll along that lakeside promenade
Yeah.
where you can admire the views of the lake, the mountains, and the elegant villas lining the shore.
Okay, so we've got art and architecture covered. What about a little dose of history?
For a glimpse into Como's past, head to the Museo Archeologico, which houses this fascinating collection of Roman artifacts. And if you're interested in the history of silk, Como is famous for its silk production, so be sure to visit the Museo Seta, where you can learn all about the process from silkworm to fabric.
Wow, so Como is a blend of history, art, natural beauty. What's a good way to experience it all?
One of the best ways to get a feel for Como is to simply wander through those charming streets and soak in the atmosphere. You'll discover hidden courtyards, colorful shops, bustling cafes, and be sure to stop for a gelato break.
Of course, no trip to Italy is complete without plenty of gelato. But
Mhm.
what if our listener wants something a little bit more unique? A hidden gem within this bustling city? What would you recommend?
There's a hidden gem called the Giardini della Vele.
Okay.
It's a peaceful oasis tucked away behind the city walls. It's a public garden with beautiful flowers, hidden pathways, even a waterfall. It's a perfect place to escape the city buzz and just relax for a while.
A hidden garden in the heart of the city. I love it. So we've explored the city, we've wandered through hidden gardens. Now I'm ready for dinner. What culinary experience should we treat ourselves to on day 4?
Well, Como has this wide range of restaurants, but for a truly special experience, I would recommend heading to the Ristorante Social, a Michelin-starred restaurant with stunning views of the lake.
Fancy.
It's a splurge, but worth it for the incredible food and ambiance.
A Michelin-star dinner with lake views. That sounds like the perfect ending to a day of exploring Como.
Yeah.
But our Lake Como adventure isn't over yet. Stay tuned for part 3, where we'll wrap up our 5-day itinerary and give you all the insider tips you need for a truly unforgettable trip. Welcome back. It's our final deep dive into Lake Como.
I know, bittersweet, isn't it?
It is.
We've covered so much ground already.
Yeah.
Charming villages, breathtaking hikes, delicious food-rich history. What a journey.
What a journey. But before we send our listener off on their own Lake Como adventure,
Yes.
let's talk about day 5.
Okay.
And maybe sprinkle in some practical tips for them as well.
Absolutely. Day 5 is all about soaking in those final moments of Lake Como magic, and creating those lasting memories. And yes, let's arm our listener with some insider knowledge to make their trip even smoother.
Perfect. So for this grand finale of a day, where do we begin?
Let's start with a truly iconic experience, a visit to Villa del Balbianello.
Oh, yes. I've seen pictures of this villa. It's perched right on the edge of the lake with those incredible gardens. What makes it so special besides its Hollywood fame?
It's the whole package, the location, the history, the gardens. You walk through these lush gardens filled with exotic plants and sculptures, and suddenly you're greeted by these panoramic views of the lake.
Wow.
That'll take your breath away. It's a feast for the senses.
It sounds like the perfect place to get lost for a few hours, just wandering and soaking it all in.
Yeah.
But let's say our listener wants something a bit more active for their last day. Any suggestions?
Absolutely. For a unique perspective of the lake, consider a seaplane tour.
Ooh.
You can soar above those sparkling waters, get a bird's eye view of the villas and villages that we've been talking about, and even see the Alps in the distance.
Wow.
It's truly unforgettable.
A seaplane tour. Okay, that puts a thrilling spin on sightseeing. And what about food? What culinary experience should we cap off this incredible journey with?
Well, since it's your last day, why not indulge in a true Italian feast?
Okay.
I would recommend heading to a traditional trattoria in one of the smaller villages.
Okay.
You'll find those authentic family recipes passed down through generations,
Yes.
often using fresh local ingredients.
It's like a culinary time machine.
Exactly.
Tasting those dishes that have been enjoyed for centuries now. Let's dive into those practical tips. We talked
Okay.
about transportation earlier,
Yes.
but anything else to keep in mind?
Don't forget to pack comfortable shoes.
Oh, yes.
You'll be doing a lot of walking, especially in those charming towns, those cobblestone streets. And speaking of those towns, be prepared for some hills.
Okay.
Lake Como is known for its hilly terrain, so even a short walk can turn into a mini workout.
Good point. And for anyone traveling during the warmer months, I imagine packing light breathable clothing is a must.
Absolutely. Summers in Lake Como can get quite warm, especially if you're out exploring during the day. And don't forget sunscreen and a hat to protect yourself from that Italian sun.
Great reminders. What about money matters? Any tips there?
As we mentioned before, Italy uses the euro. Credit cards are widely accepted in most places, but it's always good to have some cash on hand, especially for smaller shops or markets.
And what about tipping? Is it customary in Italy?
Yes, tipping is customary, but not as much as in some other countries. A few euros for good service at a restaurant or a small tip for your taxi driver is usually sufficient.
Good to know. Now, I know we encouraged our listener to try some basic Italian phrases,
Yes.
but what about those who don't speak any Italian at all? Will they be able to get by?
Don't worry, in the more touristy areas, you'll find that many people speak English, especially in hotels and restaurants. But like I said, even a few basic Italian phrases can go a long way in showing that respect for the local culture and really enhancing your interactions.
It's all about making the effort.
Exactly.
And I think that's a good philosophy for traveling in general.
I agree.
Being open, being respectful, and embracing the new and the unexpected.
I couldn't agree more. Travel is about stepping outside your comfort zone, experiencing different cultures, expanding your horizons, and Lake Como is the perfect place to do just that.
Well said. I think we've given our listener a pretty incredible itinerary to work with, from those iconic towns and villas to hidden gardens and breathtaking views, from delicious food and local wines to practical tips and a little bit of language help. We've covered it all.
We have, and remember, this is just a starting point. The true beauty of Lake Como lies in those moments of discovery, those unexpected encounters, those spontaneous detours that make every trip unique.
So to our listener, as you embark on your own Lake Como adventure, remember to embrace the journey, savor every moment, and create memories that will last a lifetime.
Exactly.
And that concludes our deep dive into Lake Como. Thank you for joining us on this incredible exploration. We hope you're feeling inspired and ready to experience the magic of this enchanting destination for yourself. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.